Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, Bank of Ghana gold reserves reached 37 tons in September this year as price of the commodity continues to hit record levels. Also coming up, Bank of Ghana's drastic changes to its dollar auction programs impact Cedi's performance on the interbank market. We'll tell you about it. My name is Daryl Kwao. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. First up, the Bank of Ghana's gold holdings climbed to 37 tons by the end of September, reflecting the central bank's continued effort to shore up reserves. Here's more in this report.
The data showed that since the beginning of this year, the Bank of Ghana, through its domestic gold purchase program, has increased its reserves by a little over 7 tons. The program has played an important role in improving Ghana's international reserves, as well as the record appreciation of the cedi against the dollar earlier this year. Gold prices has hit record highs, resulting in the Bank of Ghana making some windfall. The development has resulted in the regulator trying to roll out a mechanism where the said excess can be released onto the market through dollar supply. Some market analysts are already projecting that gold prices will hit $5,000 an ounce by the end of this year. That could come as good news for the economy. This was after it hit $4,000 an ounce earlier this week. This is because recent World Bank data showed that Ghana's economic turnaround has been fueled by rising prices of commodities like gold. But the biggest question here is that with the rising prices of gold, should the country go ahead with the hedging program to try and manage the expected risk?
Bank of Ghana's decision to implement drastic changes in how it sells dollars to the market is already impacting the city's performance. Here's another report.
The Bank of Ghana on Tuesday announced that it is making some drastic changes over how it sells foreign exchange to the market as well as the commercial banks. This would also result in the Bank of Ghana provide dollars immediately to the banks as soon as the transaction or the auction is closed rather than later. Joy Business is learning that the news has already impacted the city's fortunes on the interbank market, making some marginal gains in terms of the improved price quotes. It has also helped improve liquidity on the interbank market, a development that actually started last month after recent liquidity squeeze. The Bank of Ghana is planning to inject more than $1 billion by selling $300 million every week for a month. Even before this month, the Bank of Ghana had increased the amount it sells to the market. The city's rate of depreciation over the past 2 months has slowed significantly, and some are linking to these regulatory interventions by the Bank of Ghana.
Well, joining me to discuss these headlines is Associate Professor of Finance at the Andrews University in the U.S., William Swipra. Good afternoon to you. What does the 21.3% increase in gold reserves this year signal about the central bank's strategy for macroeconomic stability and external vulnerability management? You're muted.
Good afternoon to you, Daryl. Good afternoon to our viewers. This increase in Ghana's gold reserves, which is about 21% since January, We see that what the Bank of Ghana is trying to do is trying to position itself to build a non-debt buffer management strategy, so that anytime there's these external shocks that normally affect us, Ghana will be able to find some commodities to meet that. The second strategy, which is very key to this program, is to reduce the Forex vulnerabilities. Our city seems to depreciate a lot, so having a gold-backed Forex supply is a good strategy that will really help our currency to meet this target. So we notice that the Bank of Ghana is trying to actively have a diversified strategy in how they keep balance of payments. So instead of keeping rare cash, now they also want to keep commodities, which is gold. And this is what has been done in the past. And countries that have done it have benefited from it. So Ghana, as we have gold, but we've not done it. So I think that, in my view, when we keep on increasing the buffer stock of gold, it's going to be a very positive signal to our currency.
Yeah, I mean, to what extent has this strengthened our foreign exchange position and our reliance on external debt markets?
So if you notice, since June 2025, data from Bank of Ghana says that they purchased about 145 tons of gold. They sold 86 tons just to support our forex, and then they used 27 tons to settle about 1.95 million tons of fuel. That, remember the gold for oil program that we had in the past. So this is an evidence that indeed that strategy is to use the gold to support for forex supply in the country. So which means that because we dollars or foreign currency is not, let me use it simply because dollars is what we normally know. It's not our currency. We need a commodity that we can easily have access to be able to sell it or use it as a form means of payment. An important feature with the government committing to buy about 20% of gold mined output in Ghana is something that is very good. And we also know the benefit of the gold board that have been established to enhance the value chain in the gold industry in Ghana. So putting all this together, you will notice that, I mean, with the gold board, they are trying to prevent smuggle, and then also all the leakages in the system. And it's been one of the advantages that we have seen that has caused a major improvement in our foreign currency, because all the gold are sold, and then the money comes through the Bank of Ghana, which comes in that the Bank of Ghana have the forex or to support any importation that must be done.
To what extent can the increased gold reserves translate into real stability for the cedi, especially given the recent changes we've seen in the Bank of Ghana's forex sales strategy?
So we all know that Bank of Ghana. So let me start by saying this way. It is very good that now the Bank of Ghana is going to tell us every month how much of forex money they want to use to intervene in the market based on demand and supply. And also, as they are going to use the auction process, which is the spot auction, they are going to do this twice weekly. It's going to really enhance forex supply in the market. If you really look at it very clearly, anytime you have your gold purchasing program, it means that you buy all the gold in the country, you sell it outside, your payment comes in forex, and then you use the forex to support your economy. So this kind of clear forex intervention framework, as we know it now, and Bank of Ghana has made it very clear, is really going to help the financial system, especially Bank of Ghana. You know, there was an argument against them that they were putting too much dollars in the system to cause the city to strengthen. So now it's very clear. They have a framework. and they are going to use what we term as the rule-based approach to be able to address this issue. So we may see that the gold-backed forex supply is something that is going to really help Ghana to strengthen its cedi a lot.
Yeah, let's talk about investor confidence, foreign direct investments. We're seeing a combination of gold reserves going up, the central bank changing its FX strategies. What will it do to investor confidence, and how will it attract investments?
So what do foreign investors want? One, they want that anytime they do an investment in Ghana and they want to repatriate their money back or send dividend out of the country, we should have Forex to be able to do that. So having these two strategies in place will really lower the perceived convertibility risks when they want to transfer cedis from dollars or other foreign currency to send it out. And then two, it is going to reduce the spread between the bid and ask. That's the Forex market. Because now there is certainty in the market that Bank of Ghana is ready. They have a framework to be able to provide Forex anytime it's needed based on demand. And let me put in perspective, appropriate demand. So when you do this, it brings that confidence to foreign direct investors, and you see them that, the economy is settled. Anytime they bring in their money or do any investment, this is going to work. But let me put this caution. For this to work, it requires continuous, consistent fiscal discipline, as we've seen from the Ministry of Finance. And then also the foreign direct investors will want predictability in the Forex auction. It's not like Bank of Ghana do it this week, they don't do it the following week. Now they tell us they are going to do it twice a week, and then so we know this is the framework established, and then which enhance liquidity in the market. The last point is that there must be credible communication from Bank of Ghana, which will send a positive signal to investors. Anytime there is that kind of communication gap on the forex market, it brings some panic, uncertainty in the investment world, and especially in our Ghanaian setting. The moment we hear, oh, there's a little shortage, you will see the black market taking advantage, and then the cedi devaluing more. So they must make sure they give us credible communication, and this is going to bring the confidence back into our economy, and foreign direct investment will start flowing in.
Gold has hit $4,000 an ounce. We are all excited about that, especially now. We're also hearing that our gold reserves are going up. Good news. But what are the risks in being heavily dependent on gold assets, knowing that it's a volatile market?
So the first risk we all know, we talk about, is a price risk, and also work. So anytime you keep gold, you know that the volatility on the price. So in our case, if you are going to keep the gold itself, we are not trading as an option or derivative on any market. We are keeping the real gold. We are exposed to price volatility. This is something that I'm sure we have today. We are happy it's gone to 4,000, but anything can happen. It may drop. Then the other side is that gold is not, in terms of liquidity, we say it is less liquid. To be able to convert it into cash, you may need to go through some processes. So it's good for diversification, but putting too much of your reserves in gold is also something that we must critically look at it. At least we should have a balance between cash, which is our balance of payment. We must look at it very well and make sure that we have money, real cash, to be able to pay, and then we only use the gold in times of distress. The last part is about governance and then supply rates of gold. Smuggle is one major element in Ghana, and we know that probably now with the gold board, they are trying to address the issue of smuggle, and to be able to account for all the gold that's produced in Ghana, make sure when they sell, the money comes in. So these are some of the challenges that we will face when we try to put all our eggs in one basket of gold reserve. At least we need to still keep on diversifying. We shouldn't only look at gold. There are other commodities, other forms of investment that the central bank must also be looking at to make sure that in times of need, we can rely on them.
Very well. Thank you so much, Associate Professor of Finance at the Andrews University, Williams there. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. You're watching The Marketplace. We're taking a short break. We will be right back. And welcome back to The Marketplace. It's Thursday and it's the day we have the Joy Business Poll. How's the customer experience in Ghana? Do government offices meet your expectations? What are our private companies? Joining us to assess what Ghanaians think is my colleague Isaac Atasenyaku. Good afternoon to you. And so I know this week is customer service week. We should tell our audience, and many companies are doing stuff online to showcase how customer-centric they are.
Exactly.
Give us an idea what they're doing.
So yes, we ran 2 polls actually this time around. We decided to do 2 polls. One comparing the private and also the public institutions, what Ghanaians think and who offer the best, customer service or customer experience for that matter. Now they say it's no longer customer service, but customer experience because it's a whole process. So first one, you realize that private institutions are better. That's like, that had a chunk of the vote. And then you look at what we run on X. This is on Facebook, by the way. On X, again, private institutions are better, had about 55% compared to both are equally poor, 42%. Interestingly, on X, no one has voted yet for public institutions are better. That's quite interesting.
I don't see, a couple of people.
Pretty minimal, And so, again, this tells you the situation or gives you a picture of the situation.
Why do people think the customer experience in public institutions is not anything good to write home about?
I want to believe it largely boils down to experience. For a lot of people, it's the kind of experience that they've had with these institutions. So for instance, if you look at an institution like the utility providers, for instance, there's always, some tussle, going around your credit situation, your power situation. You look at institutions like, DVLA. Now, DVLA has actually improved.
Yeah, they are running a 24-hour service.
Exactly.
I saw a post of a sort. Yeah.
Exactly. They are doing pretty well when it comes to customer experience. Again, so we ran the second poll, which also sought to ascertain the areas that Ghanaians expect institutions to improve upon. And so response time, staff attitude, accessibility and processes, follow-up and accountability. You realize that staff attitude ranks topmost in all of the polls we ran on both platforms, or all platforms actually. So you realize that it's got to do with the Ghanaian and how they treat people, how they welcome people, and in case you have a challenge, how they're able to help you resolve that. That's the issue mainly, and I think human is a critical part of customer experience.
I have a question. How do you think technology can change that? I mean, we are in an era where there's AI, and so if staff attitude is a problem, we've been having a conversation about, how AI could potentially take out the human elements of work. Can technology do what the staff wouldn't do?
I think it can go a long way in helping because you realize that, with the program, it's being put in such a way that it will respond to certain queries. However, my only issue was that, for some of the programs or for some of the bots, the chatbots we have currently, Darryl, a lot of them give generic answers, you understand? So you usually wouldn't get the kind of, or the detailed or the tailored answer that you want. So the only program to tell you, we'll be with you for this, respond to this. For instance, if you ever dealt with a chatbot with one of the telcos, you realize that it gives you options. For, identity, press 1, for this, press 2, for this, press 3. And it's not tailored to meet generic needs of customers. So that's a lot of work in that experience. But yes,
all right.
That question, AI can help.
Let's get to the comments on what people are saying.
Interesting, yeah. To be very honest.
All the above.
A lot of them kept saying that both public and, private institutions are guilty when it comes to,
Yeah, well, honestly, I see an effort on the side of the public institutions to change the narrative because most of it has got to do with what people think or have thought over time. Okay.
That will bring you to an important point, CAT International made. But before that, these are some reports we've done on My Job Online. Insurance sector ranked last in the 2023, Institute of Customer Service Professional report. Again,
the banking side,
yes, praising some banks for the work they've done when it comes to.
So I see First Atlantic Bank there, CBG, exactly. Also leading 2024 banking service quality ranking.
If you go in there, you find, the commercial GCB and all, some other.
Got a minute. What else can we do?
The next slide is a call. So to what you were saying, a call by CAT International, asking, government to reset the whole sector to ensure that we have, the right customer experience that will really bring business to government, that will ensure that government institutions are really up there when it comes to giving the right customer service or creating the right experience. Darryl.
That's great. I enjoyed the segment. Thank you so much, Isaac Atasenyako. Always here on Thursdays to gauge what you're thinking. All right, and that's it for our program. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com. You can find that article as well that he talks about. myjoyonline.com/business. That's where to go for the day's latest stories. Thanks for watching, everyone. We're leaving you with our international news headlines.